What is going on, guys? So it has been a seriously long time since I've done a versus battle, but it is about time that I got back to it. And the biggest reason that I've taken such a long break from doing them is because in One Piece, because the series really isn't that close to the end, there's so many good characters that you want to talk about when it comes to these kind of discussions. However, at this point, there's not really so much reason to do so because there's so much we don't know about how strong they really are for a lot of different reasons in this series. So it's like, like people come and say, oh, why don't you do Kizaru versus Aokiji or something? It's like, yeah, I mean, that's fun to talk about, but what kind of facts can I really give you? We've seen almost nothing from either of them, and that's what it comes down to most of the time. That's why I've taken such a long break. However, while we don't know everything, pretty much at least about one of these characters, this has been a topic that has been running rampant in my Discord, and I guess my comment section a lot too for some reason. A lot of people suggested this, and I don't know why I've taken so long to do it. I just thought today, why don't I talk about this? So the topic for today, as you guys already know by the title and whatnot, is going to be Sabo versus Katakuri. So like I said, when it comes to Katakuri, we pretty much know all we're ever going to know. I mean, at least I would imagine, or unless he gets stronger or something and comes back, but that's not what we're talking about anyway. So since we just saw him pretty much get stalemated, it's safe to assume that he's used everything he has and everything he can do. While Sabo, on the other hand, is a lot different. We don't know everything about him. In fact, we don't really know that much. We've only seen him go against Fujitora and whatnot, and we can kind of speculate how powerful he is based on his position. So Katakuri is a top Yonko commander. Granted, in my opinion, probably the weakest of the top Yonko commanders. However, he still is one, and that says quite a bit. I mean, even being a Yonko commander in general, not necessarily the top, is pretty damn good. I mean, Cracker is likely the weakest on the Big Mom crew, and he's kind of a complete monster. I mean, he gave Luffy quite a run for his money. Sure, he did kind of counter him, but that's not the point. What a Yonko commander brings to the table is immense. It's pretty much the highest position in the series, I guess, in terms of power that is pretty general, right below Admiral. So that's pretty good, and for a top Yonko commander, that is just like the next step up. I would also say there's probably a decent amount of distance between Katakuri and Cracker, considering that when the fight between Luffy and Katakuri started, Katakuri was pretty much completely whooping Luffy's ass. I mean, it was very one-sided. Luffy wasn't really accomplishing anything. He very much had to get, like, exponentially stronger in that fight just to keep up with Katakuri. So, yeah, I mean, guys, come on. Like, at the beginning of the fight, Katakuri was dumpstering Luffy, who was pretty powerful in the series at this point. So, he is a very strong character. The guy seems to pretty much have complete mastery over his devil fruit. It is supposed to be some kind of special paramecia, and he uses a ridiculous amount of abilities that don't really seem to just be like the base form, like how with Ace, he could shoot fire out of his hands, of course, because that makes sense. But then there were also some abilities of it, like when he could just throw out those little balls that exploded. So, I mean, he definitely has mastery over his devil fruit. He has an awakening, for God's sake, so what are we even talking about here? The funny thing is that that's probably not even his biggest strength. Sure, he has an awakening for a special paramecia devil fruit that's pretty much a Logia. No, that's no big deal. The crazy thing is that he can see 5 seconds into the future using his observation haki, and this is not something we have seen in the series up until now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I made a video like last week talking about how I think that Fujitora was clearly using Future Sight Dressrosa, but that's not really confirmed. So, with him being the only person really confirmed to have used this ability and just it seeming overpowered based on what it can do, the guy he's pretty strong, guys. It's pretty nice that we're actually able to analyze all this information while talking about Katakuri, but now I have to move on to Sabo, who's a little more tricky because we've never really seen him in a full-on battle. He kind of seemed to be in one with Fujitora, but he didn't really use that many abilities, and he had just gotten his new Devil Fruit, so it's like, okay, well, what can he do now? And it's also important to consider his position, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, he is the second in command of the Revolutionary Army here. Not to mention, in the second most latest chapter, we found out that apparently he and 3 of the Revolutionary Army commanders fought against Fujitora and Ryokugyu, and I'm thinking that he probably was soloing one of them while the other 3 were taking on the other. Of course, that's complete speculation, but I don't really think it makes sense any other way. I mean, what is it going to be, Sabo and one of them versus an Admiral, and then you're going to leave 2 of them to take on? How would those teams be even at all? I'm not seeing that. So he could very well be Admiral level here. I mean, even since before the series actually started, we've seen as a child, he was specialized in advanced weaponry, so the guy's a complete monster, really. Sure, I mean, he probably hasn't really mastered his Devil Fruit or anything, but he's got to be getting there. I mean, he seems pretty competent, and I'm assuming he can do at least a decent amount with it. I mean, it is a Logia. He was able to do quite a bit in the Coliseum, even if he was just using its base abilities. It's a pretty strong Devil Fruit, so it can only really help him, right? So then, the question that we're all asking, who would win in a 1v1 situation? Now, in this particular one, I don't think that there's any real counters. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, Sabo would probably win just because he would burn Katakuri's Mochi. I don't really see what that even means, considering that would pretty much be true against any opponent unless someone was using, like, the water fruit or something, which isn't a thing, and probably isn't a thing at all. So, I mean, yeah, it's fire, it burns things, right, correct. I don't really see that as a particular counter to Mochi, unless I'm missing something here. But yeah, so I pretty much think it's going to be a straight-up fight. No one really has an advantage or a counter against the other, and it's just going to be a lot of power thrown at each other. So then, the way I've looked at it is, can I see Katakuri going up against an Admiral, and can I see Sabo going up against an Admiral? When it comes to Katakuri, I'm pretty unsure. I mean, yeah, he has Future Sight and whatnot, but for all we know, maybe it's pretty much just kind of standard for someone that's as powerful as an Admiral to have Future Sight. We haven't really gotten that far in the series since Katakuri and seen any other potential candidates for that, so it's like, maybe that's not that great. I mean, guys, Luffy didn't even know that it existed until his battle with Katakuri, and he was able to use it by the end of it, so I'm thinking it's probably not as uncommon as a lot of people seem to think at this point. And while I'm not just going to completely speculate that they are able to use it, it might not even be the biggest advantage anyway, because they're probably a lot stronger in every other way. I mean, just speaking in terms of Devil Fruits, they definitely have stronger Devil Fruits no matter which Admiral we're talking here, and I'm assuming their just base stats and abilities are stronger. So unless they really don't have Future Sight and Katakuri's is just such a massive advantage that he could somehow keep up with them, I'm really not seeing it. I don't think Katakuri would be able to defeat an Admiral, and he probably would not do that well at all against them. With Sabo, on the other hand, I don't know. I think I might be able to see it. I mean, we did kind of get a glimpse of Sabo versus Fujitora, where Sabo did make the claim that Fujitora probably wasn't trying all that hard, but it's not like Sabo was losing in that situation anyway. He seemed to be egging him on. He wanted him to actually give Sabo a fight. He was very disappointed with what was going on. So it's kind of like we've already seen a little skirmish between him and an Admiral with him not particularly losing, and now 2 chapters ago we're seeing that it seems pretty reasonable that he probably went up against an Admiral again. So we're actually kind of getting indications that he can in fact take on Admirals. So while it really could go either way with both characters, while maybe Katakuri could take on an Admiral or something and maybe Sabo could not, I would say that those are the particular directions I am leaning on those topics. I would like to get more information on Sabo for sure, and maybe see a little bit more of what an Admiral in particular can do, but I'm definitely thinking if it's going to be Sabo versus Katakuri, Sabo's probably going to come out of this fight with the W, and I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. I think Katakuri will give him a match worth watching, but I don't think Katakuri is really going to get that many good licks in. So I do give this victory to Sabo. I know a lot of people are going to come in here, oh, yep, you're just a big Sabo fanboy. I don't even know what that means. I mean, yeah, I do like him as a character. I like Katakuri too. In fact, I think I like Katakuri more than I like Sabo, but that's not really the point, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with me. Make sure to comment below your disagreements. Maybe we can have a little bit additional of a discussion about this. Let me know why you think maybe Katakuri is in fact stronger. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys have not already become a part of my Discord, make sure to check the link in the description. We have a lot of interesting discussions every single day. I mean, this is where I got the whole inspiration to do this particular video, Sabo vs Katakuri. So many people in my Discord are constantly talking about Sabo vs Katakuri, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make a second version of this video. I've technically already done a Sabo vs Katakuri video, but that was like before the Katakuri battle even was really anywhere. It had like barely started, so I figure it's probably a good idea to do another one now. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you've made it this far, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, a great start to your weekend, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow during the Jeopardy live stream.